Hello and welcome to the Year 6 SATS meeting 2023. The aim of the meeting is to explain a little bit about what your child is going to be taking part in during the SATS week. SATs are the standardised assessment tests that are given to children at the end of Key Stage 2. There's a slight change this year due to the King's coronation, so it won't start on the Mondays. This is a bank holiday, but children will start on Tuesday the 9th of May and they will end on Friday the 12th of May. Children will take part in a grammar test, which will take place on Tuesday the 9th of May, and then following that will be a spelling paper, which again is on Tuesday the 9th of May. Children will take part in a reading test on Wednesday the 10th of May, and the two maths papers, the arithmetic and reasoning, will take place on Thursday the 11th of May, followed by their final reasoning maths paper on the 12th of May. This will complete the end of the tests that children are taking part in. The writing is assessed using evidence that we've been collecting throughout the year, and there is no Year 6 SATs writing test. The tests are going to take place during normal school hours under exam conditions. Children are not allowed to talk to each other from the moment the assessments are handed out until they are collected at the end of the test. Children have taken part in mock SATs, so that they're sort of used to this. We don't mark them in school. The papers are then sent away and are marked externally. The results are then sent back to school in July. Each test lasts no longer than 60 minutes, and then below there are the times that it will take the children to complete the test. Children with additional needs who've got similar support as part of the day-to-day learning in school will be allotted maybe some extra time. We might modify the test, or an adult will scribe for them, or an adult will possibly read the maths papers out loud. But this is something that you should be aware of already, as we're not allowed to make these changes if this hasn't been happening over the school year. And pupils with an EHCP are automatically allowed up to 25% additional time. So the results, as I've said before, that tests are marked externally. Once they are marked, the test will be given the following score. So the children will get a raw score, which is the amount of marks that they've achieved in the paper. They will get a scaled score. And then after marking each test, the external marker will convert the raw score to a scaled score. Even though the tests are made to the same standard every year, the questions must be different. So it's an unseen test. This means the difficulty of the test may vary, and scaled scores ensure an accurate comparison of performance over time. The scaled scores range from 80 to 120, and a scaled score of 100 or more shows that the pupil is meeting at the national standard. So the grammar paper and spelling paper consists of two papers. Paper 1 focuses on all three elements: grammar, punctuation and spelling, and this lasts for 45 minutes. Paper 2 is a spelling test, and it should take approximately 15 minutes, although this is not a set amount of time. The children have been working really hard across the year and are progressing really well. The test sort of just checks their knowledge under these bullet points here. So the grammatical terms and word classes, the functions of sentences, combining words, phrases and clauses, the verb forms, tenses and consistency, punctuation, vocabulary and standard English and formality. The test requires a range of answer types, but does not require longer formal answers. And again, we've used these in our SPAG starters. Children are very familiar with the different ways that you can answer a question. So we've put this as part of our normal practice throughout the year, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to the children. And here are some examples. We always remind them that when it's multiple choice like that and how many to tick, to read it really carefully of how many that they're expecting them to tick. And this is what the spelling test looks like as well. So children will receive this one here that says spelling at the top, and they will complete the blanks from what we've read out as a script. So we will get, this is an example of our teaching spelling script as well. And then the children will just fill in the word that we ask them to spell correctly, hopefully. And these are the spelling rules that are part of the national curriculum. We've been working throughout the school years that the children are here. So if they've got a really good understanding of the spelling rules, they should be okay as well. The reading paper, there is only one reading paper, and this lasts for 60 minutes. It's designed to measure if the children's comprehension of age-appropriate reading material meets the national standard. There are 3 different set texts for children to read, and they could be a combination of non-fiction, fiction, or poetry. So it's really important. Like, this is one of the reasons why we say that fluency in reading is really important, because there's a lot to read and a lot for the children to get through. The test covers the following areas, and if you needed any more help on this, the reading workshop for year 5 and 6 is online on our school website, and it gives examples of questions that they might ask. So that would be a useful starting point to have a quick look at. And the reading SATs paper requires a range of answer styles, and here I've just put some of the questions that might appear. And that's our mark scheme. So this bit here, the club, the facts, is what the children would read. It's a snippet, a snapshot of what's on the paper, and then this is an example of the question, and that's how they would mark it. Here we go. This is based on text 2, My Circus Life. So this is what the part of the text that the children would read, and this is a question that they would get asked. And again, the mark scheme is just there. So reading, since the current testing formation for the SATs began in 2016, there has been a tendency for 3 types of questions to be the most popular. And in the 2022 reading SATs paper, 10% of the marks could be gained from answering questions involving giving and explaining the meaning of words in context. 38% of the marks could be gained from answering questions involving retrieving and recording information or identifying key details from a text. And 44% of the marks could be gained from answering questions involved making inferences from a text and justifying inferences with text evidence. So it's really important for those questions that children are being encouraged to include evidence from the text. We do this as part of our normal day-to-day practice. You might have heard the children talking about the APE strategy. Answer it, prove it, explain it. It's really helping them and gain the experience ready to answer those questions in the SATs paper. And obviously, when you're reading with your child at home, try focusing on these types of questions. But the reading workshop PowerPoint that's on the school website for year 5 and 6 will help with some examples and some question stems that would help you do this as well. So the maths paper consists of 3 tests: the arithmetic paper, the reasoning, and reasoning paper 3. So the arithmetic and reasoning paper 1 will all take place on Thursday, the 11th of May. And reasoning paper 3 will be the final test that the children sit, and that will take place on Friday, the 12th of May. The timings for those tests are just listed as well for your information. And again, the maths arithmetic paper is a total of 40 marks and lasts for 30 minutes. The test covers the 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And here are some example questions. I've included the mark scheme so that you can see how they want the children to answer it as well. If it's 2 marks, I do need to show the working out so that we can see how they've got to that answer. And again, a few more examples. And then paper 2 and 3 of the maths papers, these are based on reasoning. So So the first one will take place on Thursday, the 11th of May, and paper 3 will be the final test that the children complete on Friday, the 12th of May. These tests have a total of 35 marks each, and they last approximately for 40 minutes each. These papers require children to demonstrate their mathematical knowledge and skills, as well as their ability to solve problems and their mathematical reasoning. They cover a wide range of mathematical topics from Key Stage 2, including the following bullet points. I realise that I've said approximately 40 minutes. It's strictly 40 minutes. I didn't mean to say that. I do apologise. So strictly 40 minutes each. Here are some examples of the types of questions that will appear in the reasoning paper. And also you can see how many marks are awarded per question as well. It's really clear for the children to see when they need to show their method or explain their reasoning. And an example of the mark scheme as well. So how can you support your child in preparing for SATs? A really positive attitude goes a long way. As much encouragement, as much support as you can, but we know that you're already doing a fab job of this. There's just a few tips, and I'm sure lots of these will come naturally and not things that we need to tell you, but they're there just for your reference. So don't use past papers as they are used in school to prepare the children. You've attended this meeting, so thank you very much for an insight. And if there's any questions that you may have, please do catch one of us on the door. We'll be happy to answer anything that you might be thinking about. I've also prepared a guide for the SATs as well. So all the information that's included in here with some example questions, that's there for you to read as a reference point as well. Talk to your child's class teacher if you've got any concerns rather than worry your child. Encourage your children to talk to us if they've got any worries as well, or anything if they're anxious about anything. Don't forget that a small amount of anxiety is normal. Give your child a quiet, distraction-free space to complete your homework or study. Try to reduce screen time, get them outside, get them some fresh air. A short walk, it always helps. And again, ensure your child is eating and drinking well and getting a good amount of sleep. Plan something nice and fun for the weekends before and after SATs. This will help them relax before the SATs and give them something to look forward to after. There are some further tips here if you would like to have further tips. So, things to remember about the SATs. SATs focus on what children know about maths and English. It will not reflect how talented they are at science, geography, art, PE, and that it certainly won't highlight all of their amazing personal characteristics. SATs do not tell the whole story. Their results will say if they did or did not meet a certain standard, but not necessarily by what margin. These thresholds change each year according to the overall national performance. So what was classed as meeting the expected standard this year might not be the same as last year. But we will be able to provide you with more detailed feedback nearer the time when the results are in. SATs are only 4 days out of a whole primary school career. And that's a really important. The children have worked really hard and do deserve that recognition of the hard work over the time at Willesden Primary School. But it is 4 days out of the whole career that they've been with us at Willesden. If you're worried about your child, do speak to us first of all. There's always someone on the gate, the class teacher. You know, we really don't want children to be affected by this. So do come and speak to us about this straight away. The support email's there on the gate, in the classrooms, but yeah, do make us aware of this. same what I've talked here, pass the concerns on, talk with your child as well about what it is that concerns them the most. If you can help pinpoint what is bothering them, you can take specific steps to help reassure them, and we can help with that as well. Encourage them to come and speak to us as well, and that would be really helpful. Advice for our year 6 children. We want them, we want them all to do the best, get plenty of sleep and eat well. Read all the questions carefully. We'll be saying this when it comes to it. Just reread, check that you're answering it correctly. Don't panic. There may be questions you think you can't answer. Take a deep breath, read it again, or move on and come back to it later. Remember that year 6 SATs last for 4 days out of your whole life. And there's just a quote here from year 7 that's left. They've got some advice for them. Stay focused in class so you don't have loads of extra studying to do at home. So, as our tradition, children are invited during SATS week to enter school through the community entrance from 8:15 onwards. School will provide a light breakfast consisting of croissants, pan of chocolate, toast or cereal. We really do feel, and it's had quite a good impact last year, that it's a nice way for the children to start their day and have some time to socialise with their friends. We can greet them and just say hello, check in with them, how they're feeling. So yeah, we do encourage you to use that as well. So at the community entrance from 8:15 onwards. And the tradition that's taken place over many years at Willesden, we will continue with the Fish and Chip Friday. So this will take place on the final Friday of the SATS week. It's a really lovely time for the children to order the fish and chips and eat with the friends in the hall, and a bit of a celebration that the tests are done. And then we always make sure that we arrange some fun activities for the afternoon. And thinking about last year, there was swing ball set up in the hall, lots of activities, just really fun stuff for the children to really relax and celebrate the end of the SATS week. So that will just be for year 6, everything I've talked about. I think there was a question that came through Teams, Microsoft Forms on Teams. So thank you for putting that question across about what year 5 and 6, because they're mixed age classes. So it's just year 6 that are taking part in the SATs. And again, the same for the breakfast club, just for year 6. And the Fish and Chip Friday will be just for year 6. So it's a tradition that it's something special, and we want to make sure that's just special for, when they get into year 6 and they've got something to look forward to. The year 5 children will be in a different place in the school ground, doing different activities and continuing their normal learning. So that's how we're going to run it. If you've got any questions more nearer the time, please feel free to come and ask us that. If there's anything following this meeting online or in school and you've got questions, please use the support. We have included a printout that I am putting on the school website as well, so that you can refer back to it. It's got all the information that I've talked through during this PowerPoint, and it's just there just in case you need any extra bits. So thank you. Thanks very much for everything that you do to help us with at school and the support at home. And do get in touch if there's anything else that you'd like to know. Thanks very much.